Welcome to another edition of Strange New Pod. I'm your Latinum Elite Fleet Admiral, Julian Brown, alongside the best bridge crew this side of the Cosmic Duchess, where you too can, play our hundreds of Dixon Hill slots at any time that you want. Captain Hawk is here, ready to take advantage of everything the Lazy River has to offer. I feel like you are a Lazy River kind of guy.
I think that's pretty much my mode of speed.
Yeah.
I love build. Yeah, I love build. 15 minutes.
Yeah, 15 minutes is good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some Commander Giraffe is here and thinks that the Cosmic Duchess slopes have nothing on the French Alps. I actually don't know if you ski. But
I grew up skiing and I hate it.
Oh, well, there you go. But still, the French Alps are probably better than like fake mountains in a. I'm having the technical difficulties.
Ooh.
As happens every now and then to me. It has to happen once a pod. I think we're back. Can everybody hear me normally again? Can everybody hear me normally again? Yeah. Good. Okay.
Yeah, us, yes. I don't know for the listeners.
I think the listeners can hear me now too. I think I'm back to normal. I heard a nice pop in my earphones. That was great.
Says yes.
Yep, cool. And Commander MC is here, but you can catch her after the show at Krog Slow jamming out to the Vibe Tubes. I want to go to that concert too. I'm not gonna lie.
You might also find me at the Underwater Dry Park.
I want to know what's at the Underwater Dry Park. Like, what's going on?
What's going on?
I figured it was a park that's like in a dome underwater.
It's got to be.
Oh. Yes, makes sense.
It does. It does.
But what's the point?
I don't know.
Because they can have it.
Because they're they're Latinum elite, right? They pay the gold press Latinum. Welcome back, guys. How we doing? Giraffe, you look amazing.
Thank you. It was we're celebrating Dia de los Muertos today. It's tomorrow, but it's a big thing in my place of work. So it starts tonight, technically. Yeah.
Yay. That's very awesome. If you're wondering where Eric is, he got sucked up by the Glumpus. We have not found him yet. Hopefully we'll find him next week.
With the Vibe Tubes.
He might just be with the Vibe Tubes. I don't know. But it is our pod. Welcome back. Hello, YouTube Collective. It is nice to have you and hop in tonight as always. This week, big show. It's our interview with Mike McMahan. If you are a Patreon Collective member, you may have already seen it. But for the rest of you, get to experience that for the first time tonight, and we hope that you enjoy it. And then it's our review of episode 503 of Star Trek Lower Decks, the best exotic Nanite Hotel, which is, I believe, a play on the best exotic Marigold Hotel.
Marigold Hotel, yeah.
Easter egg and so on. I forgot to put it in the outline.
And
go ahead.
Today's the day of the Day of the Dead is the day of the Marigold, so I feel like
they knew what they were doing with the release.
It's all coming together.
Yeah, I like it. I forgot to put an Easter egg hunt at the end of the review. If we have time, we'll do a quick one because there's some good Easter eggs in this episode. What happens when Mariner realizes she never broke up with Jennifer? What's actually inside the Glumpus? Should Boymes take up Olympic skiing? We're gonna break that all down. I don't think that he should. But first, Hawk, we need to thank our Patreon Collective members at the Ready Room level and above, please. Oh, boy. All right, friends. I don't know what's going on. I got a Bev ghost messing up my wiring. We're back. Now you get to see how the sausage is made because none of that counted and it didn't even come off on my Rodecaster. So Hawk, that was a good try. I heard it all. You're gonna get to do it again. Hawk, we need to thank our Ready Room level patrons, please and thank you.
No problem. Thanks once again to Simon Stager, Jeff Reeve, Mariah Gossett, Tallulah, Jen Stein, Tina Alexander, Joe Saporito, Noe Santos, Kang Wee, Takako Nagumo, Fernanda Nogales, SMK, Colin Davidson, Shatterhand 2049, Jesco, Michael Graham, Emily and Travis, Gildara, Maggie Light, Wayne Ritz, Scone of Arc, Sean, Jay Howard, Mahalani Uchiyama, Matt Harker, Joshua Lewis, Davey Willett, Tara Pollen, Slope 74, Rude Parakeet, Joshua Miller, Aaron W., Michael Angoli, Michael Kwan. Sorry, Carl Angoli, Michael Kwan. I'm going way too fast. I'm so sorry. I got to slow it down a bit.
Basta!
I should have had to have him do it again.
3 hours later.
Caitlin, Elizabeth Dean, Jim McMahon, Sedano 317, Puka Hair, 3 Fries Short, Kate Tip, Tripping the Reed Alert Over a Pineapple, Sean Manning, Asher CBF, Chris Waterman, RHCB, Martin Simpson, Norman Buckwald, David Prime Hildebrand, Taryn J. Robinson, Rod Grinier, Eric the Red, Trouble, Jamie Roberts, Honeyberry, Paul Taylor Pitt, and Brett Jones.
Hey, good job, Hawk. That was awesome. Who knows what's going on? It's like the Cerritos on the pod tonight. Everything's, broken. Great job, though. As always, also a big thank you to our Badmirals, our EPs. You keep the lights running. You make things like this happen, which we're going to talk about in a few minutes. That would be Simon Stager, Chris Waterman, Tara Poland, and Brett Jones. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. News. Let's get into it very quickly because we just had all those hiccups. Creation Trek, New York, New Jersey, is a week from today, and the good folks over at Creation have given us a press pass, so I will be there all weekend long covering that. So stay tuned to our threads. Make sure you follow us there because we will not be posting anything on X, at Strange New Pod there, and on Instagram. So yes, please follow us there. It'll be a really fun weekend over in New Jersey. I'm sure I will see a few of you there. Yeah, it's going to be a really good time. And then stickers, I have them. I don't know if I've showed them on the pod. Did I have them last week, guys?
No, I don't think so.
No.
Oh, here they are live in person. They're so good. MC killed it yet again. I'm going to try and ship these next week. So stay tuned to your mail. And then Patron Collective, listen, we know it. I'm sure you've noticed it. We've had a rough year. Like, we've all just gone through crap on the pod collectively. And we have not done as much for you as we should have. That is on us, and we apologize. But we have some really cool stuff planned. One of them I just showed you. This is going to be a patron exclusive. Me, MC, and Eric are going to read this, and we are going to do a few run-through of it. I'm going to do a run-through with my kids. And we are going to do an exclusive bonus pod reviewing the Lower Decks Warp Your Own Way graphic novel. They can't use the words choose your own adventure because apparently they're trademarked, but it is a choose your own adventure tale. So we are going to do this. It's going to be really fun. This is available now from IDW. You should get one. So when we do that pod, you know what we're talking about. And then we are still working on the extra special thing that we keep hinting to you that still can't talk to you about, but that's going to be fun as well. And then, is there anything else I'm missing? We're doing another bonus pod. Go ahead.
I was going to say that I'm doing Trexpert quiz on Saturday. It's at I want to say 8 o'clock. And it's on Star Trek Generations because it's the 30-year anniversary of Star Trek Generations.
I feel very
Okay.
old. Stop that. I don't like it. Awesome. Well, we will. Oh, dude, that'll be a good Trek sports. I love. I listen. It's not a good Trek movie, but it holds a little bit of a special place in my heart. So, but yeah, we have that coming up. A bonus pod that'll be available to everyone. Also coming up, like late November, we are going to be interviewing one of our favorite authors, Dr. Una McCormick, about her upcoming Strange New Worlds novel Asylum. We have that all set up. So stay tuned for details on that. We have one other thing, but did I miss anybody? Did anybody else have news before I get to the last thing? No? This is exciting. So one of our OG hosts, Brittany, for those who have not been, were not here during the Brittany era. Brittany was awesome. She started the show with us. She bought a ticket to the Voyager documentary premiere and cannot make it. And by the kindness of her heart, she is giving it away. And she wanted us to give it away on the pod. So, Hawk, you have a trivia question for people to answer. And whoever answers it will be put into a pool. And we will do the Wheel of Doom. And we will announce the winner this Monday. We're not going to wait till the next pod because you got to make travel plans. But yes, Voyager documentary in New York City. Hawk, what is the trivia question people need to answer to enter?
So who was the original casting choice to play Captain Janeway in Voyager?
There it is. It is a good question. Email it to trivia@strangenewpod.com. That is the only way we are going to take submissions. Again, trivia@strangenewpod.com. Deadline, let's say I will let it go late on Monday. Let's say 9:30 p.m. 9:30 p.m. Monday is the deadline. I will email the winner shortly after that. So let's do it. Who's going to come with me? I think there's a few other collective members headed to the Voyager documentary premiere. So good times. I think we should just get to it then. We've had some technical difficulties. We've gone longer than we needed to here. So let's get to it. Last week, Hawk, Eric, and I had the privilege of sitting down with the one, the only, legendary Mr. Mike McMahan, the creator of Lower Decks. Here's that interview. We hope you enjoy it. And when that's all wrapped up, we'll wrap up with you and we'll do the review of the episode. So here's our interview. We hope you enjoy. We are back and we are joined by the creator of Lower Decks, the one, the only, Mr. Mike McMahan. Mike, so good to finally have you on the show, properly on the show. Yeah. The last time we chat, we just said, the last time that we got to chat was like almost a year ago at New York Comic Con for season 4 press. They just shown everybody Caves, which turned out to be our favorite episode of the year and of Star Trek, like that entire year.
That episode, I had been cooking in my brain and soul since I was writing Star Trek TNG season 8 tweets, like in 2008.
Oh, nice.
Oh my God.
And it finally was like, I remember the day where I was like, wait. I haven't done my Caves episode yet. And all of the writers were like, oh my God, what does that mean? And I was like, no, it's going to be great. Because like that cave, the cave and the, like how the Enterprise is a character, that cave set was a character. You know what I mean? Like,
It was.
So yeah. I have a lot of good memories in that cave, and I'm glad I got to spend a little bit more. And even talking to the artists, where they're like, I remember the first batch of art came back for that episode, and I was like, all right, you guys are going to kill me. It actually is supposed to be the same cave every time. And they were like, I was like, yeah, we want it to look like we couldn't afford more than one cave. And they had drawn amazing caves. And I was like, also, we need fewer angles of the cave, as if we had fewer like places we could put the camera. And like, once they got it, we had a blast. But it was a very funny, very Lower Decks thing.
That's awesome. I feel like that episode is just with me everywhere I go. I was at work before I was coming on to do this, and they have it on YouTube right now, marathon going, and Caves was on. We are not even 24 hours away if you're going to stay up and watch it at 3 a.m. or midnight from season 5, the 5th and final season. Yeah, just how are you feeling about everything? Because it's got to be a bit of, mixed emotions.
Yeah, I mean, today I'm super excited because, we've been working on this for over a year. When we aired last season, we were already working on this season. You know what I mean? So like we've spent countless hours on every episode, like in every little way. I'm going to the final mix for the finale tomorrow. You know what I mean? So like
wow.
we're still working, but you reach these milestones where it's like, it's not ours anymore, it's yours, and it's like, I always say to my producer, Brad, I'm like, man, we made Star Trek again. Like, this is crazy, So like, I'm sad that it's our final season, but I'm not really, I don't know how I'm going to feel in December when the final episode airs. Cause like right now I'm just excited for everybody to see it and like be finding all the things we hid and laughing and spending time with like I spend time with Mariner and Boimler all year. You guys get to spend time with them, when we drop the episodes. And like, that's a real different relationship with these characters. But like getting to share it with all of y'all and having you see like the really funny surprises we have and the little bits of the franchise and the lore that we're expanding just slightly. You know what I mean? Like it's cool. Like how often in life do you get to see anymore new Star Trek every week? Like it's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
We're incredibly lucky to have that. There was such a long dry spell for a long time, and then we get Star Trek back. And the thing that fans love the most, at least going on the internet, is they love like going over every little bit of minutia in every episode to find a deep cut or an Easter egg that has been hidden in there. That's why I don't actually watch any of the trailers for Lower Decks, because I don't want to get spoiled by anything. Was there anything?
Well, we take stuff out of the trailers, and I really try to be careful with the trailers where I'm like, guys, there's nothing in the trailer comes from the second act of any episode. And nothing in the trailer really comes from the second half of the season for the most part. Like, because I really want you to get weekly that feeling of wow. You know what I mean? That like you're exploring it with the characters. They don't get a preview of the adventure they're going to be on, And are you going to be about to ask me what my favorite Easter eggs are? Like, what do you
I was going to ask, was there anything that you wanted to use as an Easter egg or a deep cut that you didn't get to use? Or is there one that... Yeah, or
that's the thing is there's so much I want to do, but I want to do more episodes, you know? And like, so I accelerated some stuff and was able to get some stuff in that I really wanted to do. And like, look, 50 episodes, if somebody said to me, really, McMahon, you couldn't do what you wanted with 50 at-bats, I would have been like, all right, that's fair. But like, there's a feeling of when it's right. You know what I mean? Like, are we telling a story that's worth it? There's like, I never really quite got the NX-01 in the show, and I really wanted to. I really like that ship. There's little nods to it all the time. I really wanted to dig more into Billips's backstory, go to his homeworld. I didn't get to do that. There's nothing feels to me by the end of season 5 like we promised we were going to do it, and then you never got to see it, But I would have liked to have done another Crisis Point. You know what I mean? Like another movie episode. There's not a movie episode this season. There isn't room for it. I would have liked to do an all Wayuns episode.
Oh my god!
I wanted to like find like a ship of friendly Wayuns that took off, and it took them that long to get here, and have Combs play all of them. Like, I think I would have liked a little recurring Wayun on the ship where like everybody goes silent when he enters the room. Like. More on Cardassia. Like that's the problem is like, it's not, a lot of it isn't Easter eggs. A lot of it is like, where do we want to explore? What jokes do we want to tell? Like there's still, even after 50 episodes, there's still like, we haven't touched, like 730 episodes of Star, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot to this world. And I know, there's the kind of like sweaty neckbeard guys who are like, oh, it's all member berries. And it's like, no, it's member berries if you saw a screen grab of it. You know what I mean? Like it really is just like, oh, guess what? Star Trek is a world. And if Star Trek is a world, if Star Trek is a place, then it's a place we can also have fun in, and like not everything has to be so dire. And like getting to do that 50 times has been freaking awesome.
Yeah. I'm so glad you said the NX-01 because that's my favorite ship, and everyone
looks
always craps
awesome.
on it.
I love it. I mean, the grapplers, I'm not the biggest fan of the grapplers.
Yeah, fair.
But like,
Man, I love grapplers.
I think part of it, guys, come on. The grapplers aren't cool. The grapplers are what Klingons should have. You know what I mean? Like they're
Yeah,
like,
right.
just like for a Federation ship to have grapplers is like a bit of an ask, you know, like, but that's just like my weird Star Trek brain. Wait, what was I going to say about the NX-01? Oh, I think part of it is it was like that first HD ship we saw.
Yeah.
You know, and like, because I watched all of that on like HD net or something. You know what I mean? And like seeing Star Trek in HD, I just remember being like, oh hell yeah. I think I got a TV for that. You know what I mean? Like it was really awesome. So like when I think of the Enterprise, I think of being a kid. And when I think of the NX-01, I think of like the crispest, coolest looking ship. And I'm like, you know, this is awesome.
Yeah. Was there any deep cuts or Easter eggs that you put in the show that fans didn't even actually notice even now?
Yeah, there's some, but I don't want to say it. Like,
That's fair.
I want it to be like when people find like something in Mario 64 30 years later. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's some, it's nothing, there's no big bomb of a like, oh my God, it's a big, if you cross your eyes when you watch this, but there's literally like, you would have had to be the guy who worked on props on Voyager to be like, oh my God, that's a joke. It's just for me. You know what I mean? Like, there's some stuff like that in there for sure.
Amazing.
You know?
Yeah. So I guess my question is, when you did find out that this was going to be the final season of the series, did you and the writers did you put more pressure on yourselves to try and make it the best, or at least outdo the events of last season? Or did you try and approach it like any other season? Just,
well,
you know.
That's a good question. My instinct on it, because finales are important to me, I always want them to feel like it's the biggest ship space episode we do this season, and that it's the like leave everything on the table, final, something big happens. So a final season for a series almost was too much for me to kind of process, because like I also want the show to be fun and good and like not just be what I think. Like again, it belongs to you guys once it's out of here. Not I can just tell you what I was thinking, but like so many people work on it that it's, you know, plans get thrown out when I find better things, you know, as we're making it with all these different brains working on it. But I will say that like when I was first told it was the final season, my reaction was, yeah, right, I'll show you, you know, and just started making a season that wasn't a final season. And that I knew I had to accelerate some stuff, but I had already made them lieutenant junior grades a season earlier than I expected. And that was just because I was like, I feel like these stories would be fun, that we've earned it, you know? So it was less that I had pressure to make it an amazing season because it was final, and more that I had pressure to make it an amazing season because I was pretty sure it wasn't going to be final. And when I finally, as like I told you, we did it so good, it isn't the last one, you know? But as we were making it and it became, you know, more clear to me that like, we weren't getting canceled because of things I could control. Right? Like we didn't do bad episodes. The fans are growing all the time. Like they're very vocal about it. Mm-hmm. It is just hard to be past a 5th season show in this era of streaming, you know? Fair. So like once I realized that it wasn't, that the fate of the show wasn't tied to the quality of the show or to like things that I could control, it became clear to me that like, whether or not this is going to be the last season for sure, which right now it is, but there's going to be a gap, and I don't want to leave people in a gap feeling like they didn't watch something that rewarded them and like celebrated the show in the way a final season would. So there is this season does feel final. It does do the stuff I wanted it to do in a cool way, but it isn't like, you know, it isn't from beginning to end feeling very final, because for the characters, it's not. Like in the finale, the characters, it feels like an ending in some ways, but a beginning in others. And like, they aren't seeing it as a final season. They don't know what happens in the finale. You know what I mean? So like, writing up to them and telling stories that felt honest that I wanted to tell and having fun and making you guys laugh. Like the best gift I could have given you is 10 more episodes of hanging out with this crew is what we gave you. And it's really fun.
Oh man, that's beautiful. Oh man.
So we've had a chance to see the first couple episodes of the season, and there's such a wonderful focus on Tendi. And this is really the first time we get a deep dive into the Orion culture. When did you have the idea for Tendi at the end of last season to leave the Cerritos and at the top of this season, and have her in her full Mistress of Winter constellation mode with the Starfleet like twist on that?
I think that became a priority when we had really looked, when we were writing last season, and we were really looking at like, what is Tendi's story from the pilot episode where it's her first day on the Cerritos to now, right? And like, I knew the Locarno stuff was going to be coming to a head, and I knew I wanted something at the very end of that episode to be like, wow, we did it. Mariner did it. Mariner's not going to have this kind of like internal fight as much anymore. And like, all of this stuff felt resolved. And then the second it feels resolved, I wanted an honest character-based thing that would leave you with a sense of, oh no, it's not resolved. You know what I mean? And Tendi has to leave. And Tendi's struggle between am I Orion, am I Starfleet, or am I a combination of those things that haven't been told to me before? Like, am I that guy Mesk she met at the in the Deep Space Nine episode who sucks? And like, who am I? Am I the casual racism against Orions that Starfleet kind of had before we saw Tendi in there? Or am I, you know what I mean? Like, and how much I loved being on Orion and meeting her sister and defining that stuff. Like, it really did come about like in the second half of the writing of last season where I was like, oh, this feels right. That like, not only would Tendi be cast out, that like her sister would drag her away, right? Mm-hmm. But that the last shot would be her seeing the Cerritos go away and then turning and being like, not afraid and not upset, but being like, I'm going to fucking crush this. Like, that felt like something we had earned with Tendi in a way that we hadn't seen. And we hadn't ended a season on, oh no, but how is this going to go? You know what I mean? And like, I didn't want to tell a story where Tendi was like, fuck my heritage and fuck my family. I'm like, I wanted to tell a story where Tendi got to be all things, and that she doesn't even know where she's going yet. And that she's going to have a kind of, you start the first episode with her showing up in Starfleet, like Lower Decks in many ways is Tendi's story told through lots of lenses. And like, I'll finish up with you guys and I'll tell you, I've only told one person so far, is like, if you watch this season of Lower Decks and you're like, this isn't fair, I need to know where these characters go. My only answer to that would be, look, I don't want you to feel bad, So what I'll tell you is I always have ideas of where I want to go, but they're always changing and shifting when those get better, right? But if you need deep down to kind of know where I was going to be okay, and you don't want to wait to see if I end up making the show again to do it, I can tell you guys kind of where I wanted to go.
Oh, we will maybe have to take you up on that at some point.
Yeah.
I mean, I can tell you now and somebody can pause it if they don't want to hear it. Like in the most general sense, you kind of know.
Yeah, I'm actually curious. Yeah, I'd love to hear it.
Yeah.
What I would eventually like to have done is after you see the season and you see where everybody ends up, I would have loved to have slowly.
Red alarm! Red alarm! Red alarm! Red alarm!
That's one alternate dimension path that could have become our dimension, and I would have liked to have done it.
Oh, I love it. I appreciate you sharing that with us. Like I got goosebumps and a warm heart.
I got a little teary eyed.
Even started tearing up. So
it sounds nice, right?
But it does. It sounds like the perfect Lower Decks world continuing forward.
That takes a lot of episodes though, and 50 episodes. We did something really fun, and I think you guys are gonna love the finale. You're gonna love this season, and even with what I just said, like I think you're gonna see what we did this season and be like, oh, I do like this. So I look forward to you guys seeing the next set.
Lower Decks is a very special show for us, for our show. It's how we got our start. We started as a Strange New Worlds podcast, and then we didn't even ask for him. Paramount just randomly sent us screeners one day.
Good.
And yeah, this was the first show that we started reviewing while we waited for Strange New Worlds. And I know a lot of our listeners, a lot of Trekkies out there, they all kind of have their own story about why Lower Decks is special to them. I mean, with that, if you know, and I know there's like a lot of talk whether this is truly a final season or not, if it's going to get picked up somewhere else. But if this is actually it, do you have a hope of what the legacy of Lower Decks will be for the franchise?
Yeah, I think, you know, I talked to Tawny and Jack about this a lot, especially Tawny, because like Jack is a huge fan, but he's new to the fandom, and Tawny grew up watching it at the same time as I did. And we love Star Trek more than anybody else could, but we did add the feeling that like people like us have a place in Star Trek. People who are loud and funny and bouncing around and excited and geeky, like, and that not only that we're fans of Trek, like how Mariner might know what happened in an episode through the logs of the past, you know what I mean? But also that just like, you know, this is like who you see us in these interviews, like when we're on stage, that's who we are in private too. You know what I mean? Like it is, we love this stuff. We are loud, we are funny, we're fast, we talk fast. And like that we introduced that Roddenberry's original format and concepts of this world and these stories and you know what makes it feel Star Trek, that you don't have to, you know, the things you need to protect, a lot of people thought to make it feel like Star Trek weren't accurate. You know, that like if you have seen all of Star Trek, you know that Star Trek isn't always adventure, or it isn't always really slick sci-fi, and it mostly is about just the very basics of it is people who respect each other and people who respect things that are different, and you know, not deeply complex stories that you get to kind of see that, you know, you get to see that respect and that curiosity and that tone sort of get to come out, and that we got to do the comedy version of it. Like, I do think that if anybody is paying attention, it does open it up to more opportunities for future Star Treks to be able to be not what we've seen before, while also being what we like, you know, and it gets me excited to see like what Tawny's working on. And I'm really curious to see Starfleet Academy. And, you know, I think that I do just always want there to kind of be Star Trek. And like, we worked so hard and we're so proud of it too, that like, I see I don't want to be like TAS where people are like, I've seen actual panels where they're like, why does nobody count this as Star Trek? You know, which sucks. Like, I don't want it to be like that. And I think that, you know, when I see people praising like the episode of Wage Douche, I'm like really proud of that. You know, it's a ridiculous and funny episode, but it's something that really belongs in Star Trek, you know? And like, I think that like I was talking to producer Brad the other day being like, you know, like, I don't want to go to another Star Trek convention for like 5 or 6 years. And then I want to go and see what people are saying about the show. You know, like
interesting, right?
When the recency bias is gone and other stuff and Section 31 movies out, and like, you know, we're so far away from having worked in Trek, I will be really curious that I think either people will love us, we will have been forgotten, there will be like a moment in time where everybody loved us, or like maybe you know, I can't predict how it'll go, but like I'll always be an insane, massive fan of the show, you know? As
all of us, for sure. Mike, I want to just say thank you so much, not just for talking with us today, but just for giving us this incredible program. We have loved covering every single episode, and we hope we get to chat maybe one more time before this is all over. So thanks a lot for coming on the show.
Talk to me when the whole season's out, and we can catch up again, and you know, maybe hold this little blip.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Maybe drop that at the end of the season so that you know, you can like really like wait. Yeah, and let people.
I love that. Maybe we'll do that.
Yeah. I'd appreciate that. So yeah,
cool. Yeah, awesome.
Right.
All right, welcome back, folks. We really hope you enjoyed that interview with Mike McMahan. Yes, we have the redacted part of the interview. No, you cannot hear it yet. Paramount very nicely asked us to hold that until the finale. So, gotcha. We we will play that for you on the finale. It was not. Hey, no, I'm not drunk on power. I just like I like listening to the people that continue to be good to us. So, that was a request from them, which we honored. I think it will be more special on the finale episode than it would be here anyway. I saw Hawk while we were watching the interview get a little worried that we kept it in. His eyes are getting bigger. It's like, oh shit, did we forget to take it out? That was pretty good. But Giraffe, MC, you guys weren't there. I was just gonna get your takes on Mike and kind of quickly some of the things that he had to say. Anything catch your eye, catch your ear?
I want to know if I'm going to be able to hear that before the finale.
Yeah, that's what I want to know too. Yeah. Can we know?
Yeah, absolutely. I will send you guys the audio for that.
Ooh.
Yeah,
send
But
the
no,
audio.
it was a very good interview. Mike McMahan is such a Star Trek nerd. I love it.
He really is. Yeah. He excuse me. He really is. I do hope we get to talk to him maybe like one more time, because again, being a nerd, I'd like to get his thoughts on, kind of the back half of the season as well. But we still got 8 episodes left. We're here. We're only reviewing episode 3 tonight. 7? Did I do my math wrong? I did my math wrong. Thank you, Giraffe.
7, right?
7.
Yeah.
I don't math. That's why
I was like,
have
I don't
you
know.
guys.
Do you count this one or not? Like, I don't know. 7 going on 8.
7 going on 8. Again, though, I really hope everybody in the chat enjoyed it as well. So here we go. It is our review of episode 503, The Best Exotic Nanite Hotel. Our order tonight goes MC, Hawk, followed by Giraffe, and then myself. We will start with the Jariner of it all. Let's start with that, right? Mariner is kiss ambushed by Jennifer at the top of the episode as they beam down to the Cosmic Duchess, which is a great name for a vacation moon base, whatever you want to call it. And as she continues to act like nothing happened between the two, Mariner quickly realizes, because Tillin's like, are you sure you broke up? And Teddy's like, did you? She realizes she never formally broke up with Jennifer. How do we feel about how this played out, MC?
First of all, just on the Cosmic Duchess thing, the only thing I could think of was that I kind of want this to be the setting of Tawny's show that was discussed.
Oh my God, that would be amazing.
I thought
Wouldn't
about
it?
it right away too. I was like,
Yeah.
is that it?
As for the Jariner of it all, first of all, we always have questions about the Lower Decks timeline. Because we kept on saying it's like, oh, well, Lower Decks has a really, really compressed timeline, but apparently they've been broken up for a year. So what's going on? And I have no problem with Mariner being confused because, yeah, they never formally broke up. But I'm sorry if they haven't even talked in a year. And Jennifer is acting like this. She's crazy.
I think we've all been through a silent treatment breakup at one point or another, right? Like, I feel like it's happened to all of us, whether it's teenagers or whatever. I don't know.
Not me.
No?
All the few breakups I had were always devastating to the other person.
Oh,
Fair. Hawk, where you at?
yeah, this was kind of funny because I mean, we always kind of wondered, what happened with Jennifer and that. I mean, the end of season 3 saw them, I guess, not break up, I guess, but that we knew that was the end of their relationship. I'm surprised that they actually, for season 5, decided to go back around and find out what exactly was happening. And as it turns out, it's as far as Mariner is concerned, in that maybe they didn't actually break up, and she's not embarrassed, but I don't know. Part of her growth in that, after what happened with season 4, she might consider this like maybe this was a step back for her, and she's trying to ease out of it in kind of the worst way possible by acting like, oh, it didn't happen.
Yeah, fair. Giraffe?
So I was shocked that it was a year too. And I'm like, they're still on the same ship. And the Cerritos is not that big, right? It's not the Enterprise. Like, I don't know how many people there's on the Cerritos, but it's a small ship. So how first you never ran into each other, and they're obviously still on the same shift because they go together to an OA mission. So it's not like they're Alpha and Delta or whatever. Like, they're on the same shift, right? So one, how you don't run into somebody for a year on a ship? I mean, I suppose most of the year that has gone through, Mariner was on Starbase 80 and then going around with Petra Aberdeen. So maybe it's not been a year. Yeah, the timeline is weird. The timeline is really weird. How long was Mariner away from the Cerritos? Like, that's the real question.
Yeah, I feel like we never got that answer. Like, we still don't really know. Yeah.
Yeah. So if she was out, like, I don't know, 8 months, then that's still a long time. And the way the last time they talked together, it was devastating. Like, somebody does that to me, I'm like, I'm out. Like, yeah, it's done. Like, that's clearly a breakup. I mean, don't you think? Like,
No,
not
I
even
do.
the benefit
No,
of
I
the
do.
doubt. Like,
Yeah.
and then also, yeah, if you don't talk with somebody for a year, I suppose you're broken up. But, you know, rules of dating and relationship with people have changed already so much only in my lifespan. I'm like, in like 400 years, who says that if you don't talk with somebody for a year, it doesn't mean anything? I don't know. I give them the benefit of the doubt on this. But I think Mariner being confused about it is kind of cute because she doesn't seem mad at Mariner for what happened. And I think she should be a little bit. Like, or at least like done. She should be done, you know? She should be like, she comes and like kiss her, like I'd be like, absolutely not. And she still plays along and tells you like, I don't know, Mariner is a better person than I am, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, I fully agree with you. I think that if you have that conversation, you done fucked up. Like, period. End of story. Like, you did not have your girlfriend's back at her like most desperate time of need. Like, period. End of story. Yeah, I've also been at the mercy or the hands or whatever the hell of a silent-ish breakup. Like, they're no fun, but they do exist. And listen, like, we're speaking like we don't know what happens at the end. Like, Jennifer was obviously fucking with her the entire time here because she's in it. This is a very Andorian thing to do. So I don't know.
But there's also the fact that she decided to wait this long to fuck with her.
Yeah, true. I mean,
The whole situation is weird.
it's just
Let's be
it's not a
honest.
good
It's just-
situation.
It's
at
just
all.
uncomfortable. Like, this is weird. Somebody doesn't talk to you, well, good. Okay, bye. Like, this
Yeah.
is fine. Like,
Yeah.
bye, you know?
Yeah.
But like coming back like this, weird. Especially like boundaries. Like, you've not talked to somebody and you just go and you kiss her.
them.
Like,
Yeah,
oh,
it's a little weird. So yeah, they both decide to continue playing out the act because they're both very interesting people. Especially after Mariner learns that Jennifer is transferring to the Manitoba, which Jennifer's excited about because it could advance her career. Apparently, there's a lot of Andorians on the ship. Yeah, but as they continue to try and stop the Glumpus, which Rutherford aptly named the nanite blob, the more they start to get at each other's throats, which culminates in them hashing things out. I think clinging to a lamppost, if I remember correctly.
A palm tree.
Yeah, palm tree. Thank you. Yeah, and Jennifer telling Mariner that she was fucking with her basically just out of straight up revenge. What did we think about the official breakup happening on a palm tree, MC?
So again, going into the absolutely granular, I was thinking about the USS Manitoba. Particularly, is the Manitoba a Parliament class?
Oh,
because
MC. That was my question too, because it's my favorite class of starship. I want to say yes.
One thing that I find weird about that is the Parliament class have all been named after Canadian cities, and Manitoba is not a Canadian city, which kind of makes me wonder if there might be a USS Ontario, and if nobody in Starfleet knows whether or not it's a Parliament class or a California class.
That's funny. Nice.
Ship talk.
Ship talk. Yep.
Less ship talk, more just, talk about Canadian cities.
I'm the one who busted
anyways,
out the little ship. I'm sorry.
This whole them hashing things out. I'm still on the side of Jennifer is crazy. And she says at the very end of the episode that this is the first time that she's not mortal enemies with one of her exes. And if this is her reaction to being ghosted, I can understand why. Because she's very vindictive. This entire thing is weird. These two playing lesbian chicken. Like, I just can't.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it really does play into the why they were ultimately not going to work out, because I think that in them play acting was actually just them basically, playing out how the relationship would have gone.
Yeah, absolutely. Hawk?
You ever notice how the moments of personal growth and clearing the air always seem to come at the most, like, basically when death's around the corner? That seems to be the only time like characters in Lower Decks really get their growth, is like when death is upon them. This one was definitely no different. It was funny, like them clinging to the palm tree while completely hashing out everything that, like what we wanted to hear. Mariner confronting her over abandoning her when she was, basically labeled as a traitor to the ship and sent to Starbase 80. And Jennifer saying that was always part of the appeal of her, and that was her always being the bad girl, right? I'm glad they did talk it out. I'm still on the side of Mariner on this one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
yeah. Okay, good.
Yeah.
We're all good on that. Yeah. Jennifer is a bit psycho. It's kind of funny that she, that game of chicken that she was playing with her the entire time, knowing she was like leaving the next day. Yeah. After this whole thing was done, and
I think there's an alternate version of this episode where the whole thing goes on the entire episode and they never hash things out, and I think that could also equally be a funny episode as well. Giraffe, before you go, just in the chat real quick, Jesse writes, I think Jennifer knew she was leaving and this was her chance to fuck with Mariner, and if it goes poorly, she's leaving soon anyway. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Yeah. Keep going, Giraffe.
I mean, Jennifer is a lot of fucked up right now, because saying that Mariner ghosted her is kind of wild. Mariner didn't ghost her. Mariner was sent to literally the gulag in the middle of nowhere, and she didn't ghost anybody. She could not communicate with anybody and then just left. Because if you send somebody in the middle of nowhere, far, far away, where they can't communicate, that means you don't want to talk with them, right? It's like, okay, bye. So I understand Mariner. I don't understand Jennifer at all. I try to make it make sense, and the only thing that makes sense is she's insane. She's that crazy ex we all have that acts, out of pocket for no reason and work things in their own little world and rules and stuff, and then comes back and we never broken up because you didn't give it to me written on 3 different pieces of paper and stamped by a notary. What do you mean? What do you mean? So I don't know. But also I like the fact interspecies relationship in Star Trek it's kind of fun that they have this totally different way of communication, because for sure, it's already difficult inside of the same human species. I can't imagine having to date somebody from another planet. The fact that Jennifer was just certain that there had to be an actual conflict, an actual yell at each other, when Mariner just respected boundaries basically and was well, we're done. And I feel so bad for Mariner, because she's the one freaking out and trying to figure it out. And nobody is telling her, girl, she's crazy, you're okay. Which any girlfriend should like. I was like, come on. Well, if you think about it, none of them have their shit together on the relationship level anyway.
No,
so
they don't. But
there's
you're,
nobody.
But you're absolutely right, though. Like, all of her friends would be like, she did you dirty at, like, your most desperate time of need. Like, you don't owe her anything.
Yeah, but they did too.
That's true.
They also
true.
didn't believe Mariner.
Do you know who has to be there to tell them that Jennifer's being
mom.
crazy? I was going to say Dr. Tahana. She
yeah.
absolutely would be the one who goes like, no, she's fucked
Out
up.
of her damn mind. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's kind of sad that there's nobody around her, like, to be, this situation is not okay. That's why I feel like younger women should have, like, older women as friends, because I totally be like, girl, this is not okay. Walk away. Do not engage. Red alarm. Red alarm.
Oh, I love it. Gene writes, don't underestimate how petty a candle girl can be. I mean, we knew
That
this,
is true.
right? That's very true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. 100%. I got nothing else to say. Y'all hit it on the head wonderfully. Jennifer out her damn mind. As Benjamin Sisko would put it.
I want to know what the hell is going on.
That's also who would tell Mariner, right? Like, you ain't got time for this.
Yep.
Like, come on.
I think he would tell both of them. It's
Yeah,
like,
right, like,
stop with this.
Get out of here. Yeah. Oh, dad energy. The two trust each other after the final breakup enough to solve the Glumpus issue. We're going to talk about that more at the end of the show. And leave things pretty amicable. Was this the right choice? We don't need to delve too deep into this. We can if we want. MC.
Absolutely. Like, I mean, they did hash things out, and yeah, what Jennifer did is crazy, but I think Mariner ended up respecting it, because otherwise she wouldn't have played along with it. So, like, it's leaving angry would have just been detrimental to both of them. Like, it's not, I don't think they're going to be like friends. I don't think that they're going to be talking while Jennifer's on the Manitoba, but as long as they're on different ships, they could be cool with each other.
Yeah, 100%. Hawk?
It was good in the fact that they just concentrated one A-plot of an episode to kind of tidying up the whole Jennifer thing, leaving it amicably. It was a good decision, especially considering like the alternatives and that with regards to Andorians and that. This could have ended up in like one of those like, ice pick fights between two of them.
Yeah. Trev.
Everybody's a better person than I am, because like I always say, I don't have to get out of my way to be petty. Petty is right in front of me on the road every day, all the time. I'm like, you do me dirty like this, and then you come and you fuck around like this. We're not gonna be friends. This is not happening. I was being good, like not talking, and like you come and like do this. Mariner is a better person than I am, which I didn't think I would ever say. Like, she's way nice. Like, when she says, oh, I was like fucking around with you, and it's part of your bill being a bad girl and so on, no, fuck that. Mariner needs like somebody to be like, you need boundaries. It's good for a peace of mind. She's like a new her. She's trying to like, make amends and like be more settled and stuff like this. But this one point, like, people should learn to not fuck around. But she's also an Andorian. She will like break your knees. So I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe it's the better solution, but I'd be like, like the Elmo with the fire, like chaos.
Burn it all down. Burn it all down.
Yeah, fuck that.
Nice. Let's move on to Mr. Boim. Brad Boimler, not an international man of mystery. Not yet, at least. Boims gets separated off in this episode, right? He gets to go hang out with the big boys, Jack and Billups. And gets to work with Zach Ransom and Gilbert Manhandle. Oh, God, I love that name. Yeah, undercover a little bit to help track down an admiral that has gone on vacation AWOL. Boim's excited at first because he always likes getting like he wants to be a captain, and this is like his way up. He's excited until he sees Jet with no hands. No hands, can't itch his nose. who says that Boymes is just going to be fodder for Jack because he loves throwing people into danger so he doesn't have to go into it, which we also know isn't true about Jack Ransom, by the way. Jack Ransom loves danger. But anyway, so Boymes then starts to get skittish. Thoughts on the beginnings of this undercover plot, MC?
I absolutely adore this. First of all, because I watched the this episode almost like right after we did our wrap up on season 4 and was talking about Ransom being a mentor for Boimler, and I'm like, yes, I get an entire episode of it. And I love Billups, and this is probably, except for the episode that involved his mom, the episode with the most Billups. So it's nice to see Billups in a more Starfleet-y kind of situation. And Gilbert Manhandle is absolutely the main character in a holodeck novel that he's working on right now.
Written by the Doctor.
No,
No?
written by Billups.
Written by Billups?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
His own fan fiction.
His own fan fiction, yeah. And this it's so great because it's such a Star Trek-y plot while also referencing tons of other stuff. But like them like dressed in like the Picard from Captain's Holiday outfits. Rather
So
than the black
Jumpsuits?
black jumpsuits, yeah. And it just, the Star Trek always does like these vacation episodes, and I actually think this might be like the best Star Trek vacation episode. And what they had to do was get an episode that wasn't set on Risa.
There was the Risa bar.
That was the Risa bar, yeah, but still not the Risa planet. The Risa planet episodes do not tend to be very good ones. I think this is great. I love this plot for Boimler. This totally fits with his upward trajectory. He needs to interact with people like this and get freaked out because we know Boimler's not good with change, and Jet in particular being the one to freak him out because Jet is what Captain Kirk Sunday with
Trip Tucker
Sprinkles.
Yep.
So if he can't hack it, how can Boimler?
Yeah. True. Hawk?
So this, you know what? I was watching it and I was like, I don't know how much this makes sense, but the more you examine it, yes, it is a vacation episode of Star Trek. It's also technically a Badmiral episode of Star Trek, you know. First thought I had was like, you know, the one episode of TOS when they went to the institution, you know, Lord Garth, that one.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of thing. So I thought it was going to be one of those. But the admiral that they were hunting down was suffering from a bad case of the vacations, I guess.
He just he wasn't ready to go home yet.
Boimler takes it super seriously. He gets freaked out. He lets Jet get in his head for, you know, over Ransom. Yeah. And I was a little kind of thought, oh, is Boimler kind of taking a step back from this growth that he's been experiencing? You know. Also, I got super distracted by like the little wisps of the chin hairs that were starting to come in around the cheeks.
So bad. They're so bad. Yeah.
But the fact that he was freaking out the entire mission on a vacation resort, it's still classic Boimler, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Dreff.
I love holiday episodes of Star Trek. Like Captain's Holiday is such a ridiculous episode with random archaeology. It's like so stupid. I love it. And I love seeing also like the, you know, civil like fashion in Star Trek. What they wear in holidays. Like there's this Enterprise episode also where they go to Risa and the costumes are insane. Just insane. They look like, you know, what is that thing? Like that show from the 80s at Miami?
Miami Vice?
Miami Vice. They're wearing Miami Vice in space. I love it. So I was really happy. It was a holiday vacation. And then I love that book called Red Shirts. Yeah. I don't know if anybody
That's
else
such a good
read
book.
it. And it's the moment where the red shirts realize that they tend to die more than the bridge crew in away mission, and it unfolds a whole like conspiracy and like insane story. If you have not read that book, it's so full of fun. And the other book, narrated by Will Wheaton. So, and for me, it was really like Star Trek finally does Red Shirt, where the Red Shirt is convinced that he's gonna die and he knows it and he's trying actively not to die, and happens to be Boimler, which is perfect. Perfect. The most out of pocket guy when he's stressed now knows that red shirt tend to die more on away mission, and that's great. But it's lower deck, so we know he's gonna be fine. But I loved everything about the away mission, especially the nicknames, like the pseudonyms.
Man,
It
they're
was
so good.
so stupid.
Zandy
I think-
Phillips.
Yeah, exactly. The first time I watched the episode, I think my first reaction was like, the episode was so stupid. I love it. It was so dumb.
It's
And it was
definitely a so
perfect.
stupid it's great episode. Like there's no
Exactly.
doubt. Yeah.
It's like perfect stupidity.
yeah.
Perfect.
I have a question. Since apparently Ransom thinks that the only thing you do for a pseudonym is add a Z to the name, is Boimler Zadward?
Zaddy Boimler.
Daddy Boimler.
Oh my goodness. I love it. So as Boynes tries to play it safe, right? First he offends the Cretaceans by eating and drinking in front of them, which is basically like fucking in public to them. Lets one of the Admiral's lackeys know that Starfleet is looking for them, and finally just gets straight up captured by the Admiral at AWOL Falls, right? He's like, I've been watching you. Thoughts on Boim's dragon here, MC?
Oh, just so many things about this small part. Didn't the Cretaceans, that part I was just like, man, I didn't like that episode of Enterprise. But seeing what is it, the Galamites?
The Galamites.
Yeah.
Jadzia love interest for like so many fucking episodes in the S5. We finally see them. Sorry.
I mean, we already kind of knew that Jadzia was a monster fucker, and this is just like confirmation.
When they say Galamite, I was like, wait, what was the name? Captain Bolay? What was the name?
Captain
like,
Baudet.
Baudet. And it was like, wait a minute.
Not what I was expecting at all. But I love
That
it.
was fantastic. Like the Jadzia like can do no wrong.
Nope.
Like,
Yeah.
nah.
Oh, man.
and then the whole like sequence on the mountain. First of all, Jack Quaid, your Boimler scream, just chef's kiss. And I don't know if this was actually a reference, but I really want it to be. The whole the grabbing of the genitals on the guy's back. All I could think, Giraffe might be the only one who actually knows this reference.
Oh, yeah, I know. I was not gonna say it on the podcast, but yeah, I do know.
There's a thing in Spock centric fanfic where they give Spock balls on his back.
Whoa.
Yeah. Mhm.
Balls on
I
the
even
back.
know the name in Vulcan, which I will leave it at that. They have a specific name.
Yeah,
All right,
they
wait,
do.
is it the only set or is it an extra set?
an
It's
extra
not-
set.
Well, okay. All right. All right.
Okay.
Yeah,
Got it. All right.
Cool.
I mean, I've talked about Vulcan genitalia on the show before, so I have no shame about bringing this up now. I've never read any fanfic with that in it. I just like know it exists because there's an entire fan lore page on
Yeah.
what Spock's got down there. So yeah, that was the first thing that came to my mind during that scene.
Who on
you know
lower
what?
decks in the writers' room read Vulcan Smut?
God.
We
You know
need to
there's
know. We need to
someone-
know
yeah.
who that is.
They are nerds enough. Like they don't even need to like actually read the fic. They could know about it without reading it. But also nerds. And this is just perfect for Boimler. The whole him trying to stay out of trouble actually gets him into more trouble. Of course, that's how it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. Hawk.
Well, first up, Congrats to MC and Giraffe on that. That is a very deep cut, like as far as like Easter eggs. And I had no idea what that was referencing. I thought, okay, it's kind of funny they just put it on as it's an actual cut from like a piece of Star Trek fan fiction. That's awesome. That said, this was the comedic time when Boimler shines, right? When he's awkward and he's not really feeling it, and still thinking that Ransom and the bridge crew consider him to be fodder, just like any of the other ensigns. And that it's funny that the promotion still hasn't really gotten to his head like it should, right? But yes, the scream that he let out when he's falling down the mountain, that was audio wise, everything that was just perfect. The far away, the reverb, and meeting the Admiral. That actually was it's incredibly funny. Little Apocalypse Now reference, and the guy's just basically overly
so
tanned.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And voiced by Toby Huss, who is a fantastic character actor. Pretty much all the stuff really worked for me this episode.
Nice.
This was my favorite part of it.
Nice. Giraffe?
Yeah, I got sidetracked by the
Vulcan balls?
yeah,
Sorry, I shouldn't have brought up Chesnesi.
yeah, right. I mean, listen, they had like I think one of the first Star Trek convention, they even did like a theater show about it where people were like, dressed in giant. Anyway, it's been a big question in Star Trek for a long time. Boimler on the struggle bus. I mean, I feel like Lower Decks is giving us like Boimler must suffer episode. Like we have like I'm rewatching DS9, so I'm really deep in DS9 right now. But like Max O'Brien must suffer, like it's just episode where he's just suffering for it. And I feel like Boimler, it's that, but it's funnier, and it's good for him, and it's kind of his fault anyway. So no, and.
Yeah, no, it is his fault. He doesn't trust the bridge crew that
He's being an idiot.
Yeah. He's kind of junior grade now. He's not fodder.
Hey, if you'd wake up being like a red shirt on a crew, and like the bridge crew was taking you away on a away mission, you'd be scared too.
Yeah. If you knew
So
the history of the
I'm
Enterprise, yeah.
I'm kind of like with him a little bit on this. Like I know they can grow back hands most probably because they do it in The Expanse. but yeah, it's still not a good feeling. I'd be scared too. And I mean, the problem with Boimler is that he doesn't ask.
No.
You should just ask. You should just say like, okay, listen, what happened with Jed? I want to know. And he just assumes and go in. But I mean, that Boimler scream was so good.
It was so good.
So good.
That actually is what I want to talk about, because Draft, you were talking earlier about like the whole red shirt aspect of it, and this is Boim's red shirt moment. He should be dead, right? Because at the end of the Nobulan's like, wow, I've never seen anyone survive that drop. He's like, yeah, I live in.
They don't even address it.
No.
How does he survive that?
He's our bones aren't that dense, and I'm like, dude, you should be dead. You just had your red shirt moment. But like, Boims also has already died once. Like he died last season. So, maybe he's got 9 lives. I don't know.
The koala sent him back.
The koala did send him back. He was not ready. And apparently he was not ready to die off that slope. That could have been also just a really nice, powdery portion of the mountain. So, love that part so much. So yeah, he's captured at the end of the day though. Boims is all about the Starfleet way. We've known this about him time and time again, and kind of plays this dude from the start, plays him for a fool a bit, telling him that he can capture him anytime, like you're wearing flip-flops. Excuse me, sneeze.
You can't catch an idea.
Yeah. Boimler plays along with this until he busts out the suntan lotion and starts to break his crew free. They're trying to catch him, but he's like slippery like a banana. When the Admiral tells his pawns to kill them, though, they just go back to their vacations. Like, my wife's expecting me at like the Dabo table or something. Like, I'm done. Thoughts on the very almost anticlimactic climax here, MC?
I
In a
have
good
never
way,
laughed
sorry.
harder in anything in Lower Decks than the line, "He's so greasy and wiry." I just lost it. Um, that this works for me because what the Admiral is doing is so ridiculous. I it's he's just trying to stay later on his vacation, and all of these other people who are hanging out with him are like, yeah, vacation's awesome. I want to stay on vacation longer. They don't want to kill people. Like, why? So, like, it's such a ridiculous thing. Like, I can understand them having an AWOL falls because, yeah, there's probably a lot of people who decide, fuck Starfleet, I want to stay here forever. But they're not going to get violent over it. And none of this was going to be violent. They were just coming to get this guy. That's why they were wearing, open Hawaiian shirts rather than carrying phasers. This was not a dangerous situation.
It was almost like a murder mystery dinner that this dude was trying to play out, right?
A little bit, yeah.
Exactly what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
And just the whole, like I said, I love Ransom as a mentor for Boimler. And this is such a nice him having faith in Boimler. Like, maybe he should have explained a little bit better, but he did not understand what was about Boimler's reservation. Some better communication all around. And he believes in Boimler. He thinks that, one, he's a wiry guy and they always need a wiry guy. And just because of how extremely overprepared he is, he's the perfect person to do this kind of stuff. And I love that. This is a great evolution in Boimler's character, that he does have the faith of not only a member of senior staff.
Thank you. I was about to say it. Damn it.
But the first officer on the ship. Like, this is Ransom really kind of leaning into becoming more of the Riker rather than the Riker stereotype.
Yeah, and I think what's important about you said is like about Ransom, like maybe explaining things a little bit better. Ransom I think he is a good officer, but he is like I'm only going to tell you what we're doing once, and then it's kind of up to you to follow. Like, if you watch at the beginning of any mission that he starts, he goes through it all, and I would say pretty detailed, but then you don't hear anything about it again. Like, that's it. You either get it or you're like, at the back of the line. So it's maybe a flaw on Ransom's part not to like follow up and maybe micromanage just a tiny bit more. But it's a great point. Hawk, what'd you think about this?
The climax was pretty much perfect for the tone of it. I'm just pondering it now, and that there was a whole section of the Duchess and that devoted for like an AWOL, people from various walks of life who just didn't want to leave, and that the shackling with the very, very polite staff seemed to be all part of the the Latinum elite package. So yeah, this culminated exactly. Yeah, Boimler getting that little nod from Ransom. He's like, I didn't bring you along just to be a human shield, and that he's like, you're smart and you're really wiry. And it's like those two things alone are perfect for any sort of top secret mission.
Yeah.
And how the stakes basically weren't there at all. Getting everybody just gave up at the end. It's like, I can get back to my ship.
Yeah.
And him having to go back. Finding out why he had snapped was kind of funny too. I don't know if we didn't really talk
about that, but yeah, I mean, it's hard to blame the guy just a little bit, but still, just like, you're an admiral, ask for something, like, I don't know.
Somebody has to milk the space whales.
That's what lower deckers
Why
are
are they
for.
called whales? Whales don't have milk. They do.
Yes, they do.
They have milk. They do. But space milk, like, how does it work?
I don't know.
Ask Admiral Milius. He must know.
Yeah, ask him. He would have the answers. Yeah. Giraffe, what'd you think about the climax?
I love the climax because it's very lower decks. Where instead of having like that like butt bug cabal, something like absolutely insane when you're like, wait, what? Everybody should freak out way more of like what's going on. It's like, yeah, their freak out level was totally adapted to like these guys who are just kind of done with like bored with their life, I suppose. And I totally got the murder mystery thing where like, you get invited to a murder mystery and you're like, oh, everybody's playing pretend. And then there's this one guy who's not playing pretend. And you're like,
I'm
wait
out.
a minute. I think this would be too much for me. Like, we've all been in this situation where you go for fun and like you realize that people are actually way too much into whatever they're doing and that you're not and you just wanted to chill. So yeah, I felt with like for this guy, we're like, oh, actually my wife is waiting for me. I really like that the climax was like, you know what, he's a bad mirror, but he's not that bad. Like
he was able to go back to work. Like
he's burned out, and we've all been there. If I could escape to like a space remote like station for like with beautiful beach, and I'll do it. I'll be the admiral. I understand that guy. I feel him.
My only question is, where did he get the latinum to pay for all that?
He just replicated them.
Did he, or is he black market selling? Latinum? I don't know. I think he's black market selling the whale milk.
Well, I think you can replicate Latinum because Boimler told the Ferengi, he's like, you're dumb, you can just replicate it. So I was like, maybe just replicate Latinum.
I always wondered about that. Did they consider it counterfeiting if you do?
Well, yes, they would. I actually always thought that Latinum was one of the few things that probably could not be replicated, and that's why it's valuable.
The Ferengis are too smart for that.
Lower Deck says that they could replicate it. Like, I think Boimler makes the joke in the episode where they go to Ferengi now.
Yeah.
Or something like
I thought it was that,
you can replicate everything, like all the things basically that you can by replicating them.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, Replicator just like put atoms together in a certain order to make matter. So
but I'm gonna assume like money, like in any country, is like coded somehow. So like I'm sure Latinum has like a special.
It needs to be like excavated with like sweat and tears, and then it gets a special stamp because somebody suffered to take it out of the ground. I don't know.
And there is things in Star Trek that can't be replicated. Dilithium obviously can't be replicated.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, because
until
that's
it could
the
be
antimatter thing, right?
Believe
because
so.
It's not matter, then there's something about it. Yeah, dilithium can be replicated. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really
just in terms of them, I've never bought like the whole post scarcity, we don't have money thing. Like they have some sort of credit system.
Well, yeah, I'd assume that they also have like Starfleet has a stockpile of currencies of non-Federation worlds to hand out to fleets.
Yeah, because otherwise, how would Federation citizens deal with all of these societies that do still use money?
Yeah. Yep.
And we know inside of Star Trek too that, for example, Spock is loaded. Like, we know his family is like.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
And though they're for scarcity, how that works. There are people who wrote about this, and I think also, and I like the idea that my headcanon is because we are so much like, and humans have been using money for so long, and we're so like educated into it that we can't imagine a world where it would not exist. Like, you cannot feel an emotion you can't name, or like you can see a color that you can name, things like this. So that's my headcanon. We can't imagine because we're too ingrained in money, too obsessed with money. But yeah, I loved all the stupidity of the end. Again, it's so stupid, it's so good.
Yeah, I loved it. Let's wrap up with the Glumpus. The gang do everything to try and trap this thing. Nothing's working. Tendi, T'Lyn, Rutherford, and Krog, they all get eaten by the Glumpus. Rutherford comes up with a plan to disrupt the giant. What was the final shape of it? Mariner says it in that. Yeah, that's right, Giraffe.
Yeah. Oh, Icosia. No, it's not the Dodecaya. It's this Icosia.
There you go.
20. It's not 12, just 20. Yeah. I don't know what's the Dodecaya.
Hydra.
Anyway, a big shape. And Rutherford comes up to the planet to disrupt it, and Jennifer gives to Lynn the means to do so with Krog's vibe tubes. What do we think about the climax here and to Lynn getting to meet Krog there at the end, MC?
Just in terms of the Glumpus plot, I really like them doing a humorous plot line about gray goo. It's such a random thing for them to cover, but also such a Star Trek thing. And to Lynn being a fan of Krog, who is it a reference to Korg from the MCU?
He looks like him too.
Big rock monster. Yeah.
Yeah, a big rock monster,
Krog,
and their names are
Korg,
almost exactly the same. Yeah. I don't know. I took it as that, but it doesn't seem like somebody that Lynn should be a fan of, and I love that she is. Like that little the hidden depths. I like being brought out, and that it wasn't just a throwaway, that it was something that actually did play into the plot. Like, we have to use the vibe tubes to disrupt everything. And then having him be a student of Vulcan meditation to keep his inner chill. Like, that's
giant fucking hippie rock. I love it.
It's so great. I love it. I love it so much.
Yeah, same. Hawk.
Pretty much the same. Like this whole plot was basically built around giving T'Lyn that moment, and that the fact that it announced that she is actually a fan, that she does have fan tendencies, which I in Vulcan I don't know how that's expressed. I mean, like, to call somebody a fan is to call them a fanatic, and we know Vulcans never really get that passionate about pretty much anything. Even in calling them an admirer of something might be a little too emotional for them, but she is a fan, of this guy and of his vibe tube playing. I don't know. It's ridiculous. It only makes sense at the end when they get to meet and find out how much they have in common. Vibe tube solo she does and that to disrupt the goo it's ridiculous, and it's funny, but I really don't know. It's another Lower Decks episode.
Sure is. Love it. Dref.
I want to answer in the chat. So, Krog is voiced by Marcus Anderson, who also voices Jet.
Oh.
I think Tara was asking. Yeah. First of all, I thought he was a Bricar, and I was super excited about seeing another Bricar in like another show. And apparently, Mike McMahan said he was not. And I'm like, wow, he could be a Bricar, bro. Like, why not? Yeah, because Krog, Rocktak, I was like, maybe same species. I don't know.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, I felt it, but apparently not. They say it was not. It's an other species, which okay, whatever. I love the fact that T'Lyn is a fan because there's this episode in Enterprise where T'Pol, like a Trip is like surprised that Vulcan have art or like a sculpture or something, and T'Pol is like, Vulcan love art and like they respect the artistic creation, and we're like, and I thought, yeah, like, why do we imagine them like just being like dry people who just like look at the paint drying? Like, no, like we know Spock plays music and how music is important for Vulcan. So I'm like, I love the fact that Lower Decks is really putting like history and music in the context of the Federation. Because all the other Star Trek, it's always they listen to like Chopin and like no shade on Janeway, but like really you like in the 24th century and you're listening to like, well, cool that you listen to Chopin and Beethoven and all that, but what about like Klingon metal and I don't know, Andorian punk and not Bricar, but like Krog on the Rock, vibe tubes. I'm like, when we know how our style of music already has evolved so much in like what 100 years, like imagine with inside of the Federation how much different music and instrument and so many different things could exist. And Star Trek never, until Lower Deck at least, touch on the subject. Like just invent shit. Like I don't know, like the Klingon metal was so cool. Like I have the shirts, I love that. But that is so cool that yeah, she likes the vibe tubes because it totally sounds like something also the Vulcans would like. And when she vibes, it made me think of the Paramount ad when like Spock was like,
Oh,
Oh
yeah,
my god, yeah.
Now on Paramount
was-
Mountain. Yeah.
that
The
was
vibe tubes kind of reminded me of like a futuristic version of the theremin, which is cool
Yeah.
because the theremin is what they did the original Star Trek theme on.
Yeah.
and Strange New Worlds.
And
In Strange New Worlds, yeah.
Love pheromones. But yeah, I think that the fact that Lower Decks really plays with this idea of like we have people who grew up in the context of the Federation, who have been in touch with so many different cultures, and already I listen to music I don't know the language of. Like I listen to like Korean music. I don't know Korean. Like we all do it, right? And I feel that why would they just listen to classical music? Like the captains are just like flexing. I only listen to like 5th century old, and they only read Shakespeare also. Like what?
Mhm.
There is no like Tellarite manga. Like come on, give me something else.
Anything that's in the public domain that they don't have to
Yeah,
invent
right.
themselves.
Right.
What I really love about this is the end, right? When Tendi gives T'Lyn a Krog autograph. And at first, T'Lyn's like, there's no scientific value to this. And then Tendi's like, oh, well, I'll just, put it back in the matter resynthesizer. She's like, no, just in case I need to study this image some more. Like she loved it. She did, but she couldn't quite get it out. I love
And there was that moment she had when she was on the stage when she first saw the vibe tubes. And she was just like a kind of a shocked awe.
Yeah.
And they were like glowing.
Yeah. Oh, it was so good. Love that moment so much. So finally, it turns out that the Glumpus was actually an amoeba-sized Federation starship. The Endeavor, it was trying to recreate the time, whatever things that are popping up all over the universe to try and get out because it's part of a alternate reality that is just much smaller in scale. Yeah, so it's been trapped in or I guess the Prime Galaxy for over a month. So the Cerritos doesn't have the tools to fix this, but Boims recruits Admiral Millis to help get them home, which is a nice little now the guy finally has some meaning. Thoughts on the latest development and what is probably the season-long arc here, MC?
Yeah.
I love having another Intrepid class going on a specific amount of time of hell.
Yeah. Class is cursed.
Yeah. I thought this was great. I mean, we knew that this was going to be the ongoing plot of the season, but I like them doing it in this way rather than the sorry to shade the MCU, the here, let's do another, episode where with parallel people. This is just an episode where it just happens to come up at the very end. And we've never really seen this in Star Trek where it's another dimension that is a tiny dimension. Well, no, actually, where people are different sizes in the parallel reality. I like that because it's, despite what Boimler said in the first episode, a dimension with people with feet for hands. You never see that in Star Trek.
No.
Everybody's just the same. So this is cool. And if you think about it, there could be an entire episode from this ship's point of view. Like you could totally see it's like, oh, we're stuck in this, giant universe. We've got to collect energy so that we can get ourselves back home. That sounds exactly like a Star Trek episode.
Yeah. No, agreed. Nice. Hawk?
So yeah, this is definitely where the season long arc is going, these, alternate dimensions. And yes, I'm glad they did kind of address the fact that, in some dimensions and that might, things might actually be really, really tiny. In fact, microscopic. If I remember correctly, in that it was just on the tip of that little glob of
Yeah.
gray goo. So that is pretty cool. I liked how because when it said mentioned about nanites and how they were absorbing things and that and growing in them, it's like, it's obviously a reference to, Wesley and his little experiment that got away from him. I didn't understand why it was, becoming like this big gray goo monster in that until at the end it started to wrap itself up, furthering the season long arc. That's good. The month of hell was a nice little reference, and
A month?
the month of hell. And the fact that, Boimler, he took pity on Milius, and I guess I guess he had played a hand in getting him reassigned to this, which I don't understand how that works with the lieutenant junior grade. Why wouldn't the admiral just ask for a different assignment?
I think Boyb's called Freeman's husband and was like, do us a solid. He's got to be buddy with that crew, I feel. I don't know.
But it was a nice way to wrap up the episode.
Yeah, absolutely. Giraffe?
Okay, so I'm a bit disappointed that the giant ecosydron, that's the name. Ecosydron was not like something to do with D&D or like, because I was rooting for that idea that they were stuck in a giant D&D game,
Oh my God.
in Move Along Home, and they were not, but it was still fun. I like the fact that Mariner knows that it's an ecosydron right away, by the way.
She
Nerd.
does. Yep.
I didn't see that coming, that it was a microchip.
Oh my God. No, yeah.
A microchip.
But,
I was
yeah.
like, that made me laugh. It really tingles my imagination. We see, I think, a 2D universe in Star Trek, or is it in the Orville? Am I mixing up the position?
That would be in the Orville.
A 2D, or is it? No, I think there's a 2D. Anyway, fact check me, internet. Let's go.
Oh, there is an old TNG that had deals
There's
with
an
two
old
dimensions.
TNG episode with a 2D universe, right? And I think
Yeah.
the Orville did it again. Right? We have like this out of phase planet that we know of. We have like the species like 8472, right? Is like in a
Fluidic
different
space.
kind of like
Yeah.
Fluidic space, yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
And I feel like all this Star Trek is telling us, well, there's so many different possibilities, and that's cool. A universe where everything is sized differently. Well, for me, it's really Men in Black, with the micro like galaxy in the bead that around the next. Okay, like spoiler, but that movie is like
It's
200
decades.
years old,
Yeah.
so whatever. And that's something like, I don't remember the name of the theory, but I always was fascinated with that idea that our universe is expanding, but maybe it's inside of something else. There's no way that we would ever know, right? And I don't know. I thought it was Voyager, first of all. I was like, is it Voyager?
Yeah.
But yeah, I really, really, really like that cliffhanger. I don't know. Is it a cliffhanger? Like, just finally going towards the plot a little bit.
A
Like
little
that
bit. I
one
wouldn't
more
say it's a
step.
cliffhanger, though. No.
No.
Well, if they're here, it means that other people are here.
Yeah,
That's what I
true.
meant.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
if they crossed and nobody knows they're here because they're so small, who else has crossed from other thing? Because the first episode tells us there are so many rifts, right?
Yeah.
And they keep opening. First, who is opening them and why are they happening now? And 3, when is the Kelvin verse going to show up? And 4, who has already crossed? Because somebody's people maybe
Yeah.
is already here. And I think that's going to be the big like question mark. And I'm really looking forward because I have no clue right now. But
Me neither.
I really think that's going to be the big plot of the end of the season.
Yeah, agreed. Let's get some final thoughts on this one. We'll go in reverse order. Draft. Final thoughts on this episode.
I love that episode. For me, as much as like episode 1 and 2 were great, and but a bit like I was like, okay, and then what? Especially with the end of Tandy stuff, that episode brought me back to like the first seasons of Lower Deck, where it's so stupid but so funny, and also makes me want to watch the next episode like right away.
And the next episode's a banger. We can't talk about it, but it's so good.
No,
I
I'm
can't
gonna
wait
watch
to
it
talk
after the
about
pod.
it. It's so good. Hawk.
I originally came into this this pod thinking this was the weakest episode I've seen this season, but that's why I love doing this, because we get to flesh it out, and I was like, okay, I didn't really consider this, and that. Looking back, yes, this is Lower Decks to a T in that it was stupid. It drew its influences from Star Trek and the classic tropes that they encounter, and then just flips it on its head where there's almost no stakes, but
Yeah.
they're still incredibly funny. So a good episode.
Nice. MC.
Absolutely love this one. Like Giraffe, I wasn't. I mean, I still loved the first 2 episodes, but there was, I felt a slowness to them, and this really hit the ground running in terms of, yes, this is Lower Decks, and everybody gelled really well together, and I'm so happy to have this show, and I don't want it to go away.
I know we should just when we get to episode 10, go in reverse order, review them all over again. Can we do that? I think we could do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
I love this episode. It's getting late. I don't think we need to do it in Easter egg hunt. There's a few you could find, like the Dix Hill slot machines. There's a little bit of Jurassic Park imagery in here. There's some Indiana Jones imagery in here. A lot to pick at. This episode's fun. I love romance, and I love when romances get messy. So the whole Jarner thing, I was just everything about this episode. Please, Boyms, don't take up Olympic skiing. You will die no matter how not dense your bones are. You will get dead at some point. This was just.
He should take up yodeling.
He should take up yodeling. Oh my God. No, this
That
episode.
would be on point.
It would be on point. This episode was so much fun. Pretty much no notes. Let's get into some mailbag for this one.
Warp me!
And let's see. We didn't do a poll, so we will just go back to our normal order. MC, can you take Jedi Cats, please?
Jedi Cat wrote, "This final season is off to a great start, right down to the new title sequence with more track references than you could shake a stick at. Jennifer's trolling of Mariner was hilarious, as was Boimler's continued effort to grow a beard, the glimpse of Talin's fangirl side, and the spoof of Heart of Darkness. I appreciate the callback to Year of Hell, and I'm intrigued to see how these multiversal incursions play out and how they might factor into the wrap-up sigh of the series. I'm still gobsmacked that Paramount axed the show. I'm going to miss it so much."
Speaking of the intro and all the wackiness they added, a few people online had a great theory that because they added 3 things, right? So Mike was maybe hoping to do the 7 seasons in a movie. So this season would have been the giant green hand. Next season would have been the Tholian web. And season 7 would have been V'ger, and he was just like, "Fuck it, we're done." So I'm putting them all in once. It's a fun theory. Hawk, can you take Matt Harker's, please?
Sure. Matt Harker wrote, "I thought this episode was pretty decent overall. It was great to see the nanites again after all these years. The Badmiral reminded me of Mr. Garrison from South Park." Nice one. "I think the Billups undercover persona as well as vibe tubes have great cosplay potential. For some reason, the formal end of Jariner and the kudos of Boimler by Ransom feels like our lower deckers are growing up and moving one step closer to whatever is next for our lower decks friends. Here's hoping for some bittersweet tears and a ton of laughs before the finale. # save lower decks."
Damn right. Draft, can you take NY Rowlights, please?
NY Relight wrote, I appreciate how they're tying up loose ends, like Jennifer's relationship with Mariner. I sure hope they tie up the loose end of William Boimler, because I'm curious how Boims would react to him now. Please give us more Tulin, because it was cool seeing her musical side.
Indeed, it was. I will take Mars's, who wrote, "Okay, y'all, a Galamite. We finally get to see one. Wowza. What the fuck, Jadzia? I'm with Kira on this one. But also, yes, fuck that weird alien. Yes. Now back to your regularly scheduled Lower Decks mailbag." That was perfect. Well done.
We're all on the same vibe. Like,
Yep.
I think we're all reacting the same
The
way
same
with this
way.
Galamite.
MC, can you take Troubles, please?
Trouble wrote, I love this season of Lower Decks so much. This entire episode was just filled with hilarious antics. I keep wanting the nanite mission to turn into an unofficial Ghostbusters crossover no one asked for the second I saw their tiny backpacks. But Jariner finding a tiny ship was a pretty cool ending I wasn't expecting. Why is the show ending again, Paramount? Someone make it make sense.
So many mailbags saying the same thing, Paramount. I know you got people listening. Come on, bring it back, people. Hawk, take us home, please, with Collins.
Colin D wrote, just done watching. Didn't have much time, but I particularly enjoyed Mariner and Jennifer finally getting it done. And I really like that Boim's got some good encouragement from Ransom. Enjoyable episode. Oh, that scream, hilarious. Yes.
If you'd like to watch it on a loop, we did post the scream to our threads, so it's there for you always. That is going to do it for this one. We'll be back next week. Same old time.
No Easter egg hunt?
No. We don't have time. Okay. Do you have one? Well, do you have one?
No, I don't know. Dixon Hill slot machines.
The slots.
I don't know. It's fine.
And they called the space whales. Are we talking about like the yesterday's? Was not Yesterday's Child or
the Galaxy
Child type of thing? Yeah, there's a few. Next week when we have more time in a full episode, we will do we'll do a real Easter egg hunt. Yeah. So Thursday, next week's episode's a banger, 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. You know where to find us. Please hit a like, hit a subscribe, hit the bell. Let us know, when when we're going online. We would love that. Please and thank you. That's it for this one. For MC, for Hawk, for Giraffe, I am Julian. Live long and prosper. Mazram, Sarcastic Vulcan, salute, and good night.
Thanks for beaming into our podcast today. If you want to keep the hailing frequencies open, you can subscribe on Apple and Google Podcasts, YouTube, and Spotify. Like what you hear? Put in a good word with Starfleet and leave us a 5-star review.